nobody has control. Do you think you have control?
No, not now.
Did you think you had control?
Yes.
You were like, control.
Yes.
Do you have control?
No, I just want it.
She's going, yeah. Do you have control? Do you think you have control? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Do you have control?
Yeah.
I have control. Yeah. Do you have control? No, you're a total like, no, you have no control. Do you wish you had some control? Oh yeah. Do you have control? No. Do you wish you had control? Yes. Do you have control?
Nope.
No. Do you wish you had control?
Yeah.
Yes.
Big yes.
Yeah. Do you have control? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have control? Excuse me?
I think I do.
You think you do. Do you have control? Yes. Do you have control? No. Do you wish you did? Yes. Do you have control?
Yes.
Yes? Do you?
No.
No. Do you wish you did? Yes. How many people said yes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many people said no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So now all you have to do, the people who wish they had control but do not, you need to go and work with the people who have control.
At least we're not delusional.
That'd be true. That's true. Because do the people who think they have control have control?
No.
No. No. And it is delusional. There is no way. So, what do you think you have control over? And what do you want to have control over?
Outcomes.
Hmm?
Outcomes.
Outcomes. Outcomes? Outcomes? What do you want? Outcomes.
Outcomes.
Outcomes? Okay. When have you ever had control over outcomes?
Never. Damn it.
Well, I think I've deluded myself at some time I did.
Right, that's
Yeah.
the point. So here, do I have control whether to drop this or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got the outcome, I thought.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna, if I dropped it, it would land on the ground. Now, I want it to stay up in the air.
Good luck.
I'm now gonna be frustrated. Why? What don't I have control over?
Gravity.
Gravity. Now, I could be a magician and work really, really hard and learn how to do that sort of thing, but it really isn't my goal. And so if that isn't my goal, then what else shouldn't be my goal?
Control.
Control. You get it. Huh. Yeah, control. Why?
Because it's none of our business.
You got it. You've spoken wisely. It is. It's none of our business. We don't have control. So what's the best we can do?
Work with what we have and be appropriate.
Surrender. Surrender. I want it to be this way. I keep wanting it to be this way. I keep wanting it to be, yeah, I want it to be this way. It keeps on coming and being over here. I could spend my entire life, I want it to be this way. I want it to be this way. I want it to be this way. I want it to be this way.
Could.
I could. How many people have done that?
Yeah.
Or what could I do?
Be that way.
I could just surrender. Reality. Reality. This is just the way it is. Is it big R reality? No. But is it my reality? Yes. So each one of us has been working with a four square that we might not have necessarily liked. we wanted it to be this, but it turns out it's over this, right? Or vice versa, or whatever. Okay, so what do you get? What do you do with that foursquare? Do you fight it? What happens if you fight it?
Just works. I mean,
No. And on what level do you have to surrender to it?
Freedom.
The deepest level you can get. So if your foursquare is rage is loving, then what, and you think that's being involved in getting together, what are you going to make sure, no matter what, every single interaction?
There's rage involved.
There's rage. There's rage. Most loving thing, rage. Now, what? So now you're in a relationship with somebody who rages all the time.
Boy, fits me because they can wound me all the time.
Wounds you all the time. Exactly. What is then your responsibility? Is it to then remain wounded all the time?
No.
Because then you're enabling both of you.
Mm-hmm. So what are you supposed to do?
Detach from my small self, wounded. I mean, get off the grid.
Get off the grid.
Get off
Yes.
the grid.
In the survival kit, we had three options, right? I tell about in a relation. One, they don't bother us anymore, so we're fine. Two, they make the change also, so that's great, so everybody's made a change. Or three, they don't change and we leave. Those are pretty much the things. Because what can't we do?
Change
Change them.
Change them. We can't control them. So until we're willing to accept that this is what's out there, this is what we have, this is what's out there, and I can't control it.
But most of the time, it seems like there's something maybe middle happens where I'm not completely ready to say let go of a relationship that's it'll be wounding, a little wounding.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a little wound,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a long relationship and it's a little wound and I can get over it pretty quickly and it's not a big deal, so I don't have to leave.
Right.
I'm not, but is that then, am I just fooling myself? Am I not clear enough? Do you know what I mean?
Until you have cleaned out the wounded completely,
Right.
it's hard to make that decision whether to completely lose
Yes.
the relationship or not,
So
because you're still learning in it.
Yeah, so mostly that's what's happening
Right.
for me. Sometimes it's very clear, leave, or just don't get involved to begin with.
Right.
Sometimes it's clear, but then
Longer relationships or those kind of relationships, but then we have to ask ourselves, well, how come I was staying in that relationship for so long? Oh, I didn't know my foursquare. I didn't know that I was asking to be wounded.
Mhm.
Now that I know that, then either I get over wounded, finished, and clean it up, and then I see whether I want to stay in that relationship or not. Because once you're clear and clean, are you going to want to hang out with somebody who consistently wounds you?
No, and sometimes the vibration could be wounded, but I know it's just my small self being wounded, so I'm not really wounded. I'm playing wounded,
But let's say you're now clean.
Okay.
You're now clean, and you have somebody who does this. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Are you going to stay with that?
I'm clean.
Why? Why would you want to stay with that? Well, it's what I have.
I guess
I
if
have no
still,
control.
I could fool myself.
You'd have to be fooling yourself.
Right, exactly. All right, I'm not fooling myself anymore.
But that's what that's it. So you get clean. The job is to get clean. The job is to, and then see what the other party, do they then continue to play the part?
Oh yeah. Usually.
Because
They're not working.
They're not working.
But can't they also just decide to play that? They kind of get that you're not playing the game, so they'll just go somewhere else. To play
Absolutely. They'll leave
So
and do
the rules
something.
can change in that relationship.
It can. That's what I said. You have a couple of things that will happen.
Maybe it's not that they learned, they just said
Oh, I didn't say that.
more fertile ground somewhere else.
Well, you're no longer giving the response they were looking for.
Right.
That's all that's happened.
Right.
And so they haven't stopped. So you still have to remain incredibly vigilant.
Right.
Because all you have to do is, remember, you've only attenuated that Foursquare. It ain't burnt.
Right.
At this point, you don't have a burnt seed that can't be irrigated.
Right.
You're going to irrigate.
Yeah.
So that they will continue to do that, and you have to stay. Which is fine if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah. They're still a farmer.
They're still a farmer. They still have the straw hat. They still have their overalls on.
Right.
And unless you are a completely parched seed, you're going to irrigate the field. Once you can no longer irrigate the field, then they can do whatever, and you don't have to be. It won't.
Right.
It's gone for you.
Right.
And at that point, they will, if they're only looking for, because they know this is our relationship, this is how we connect, this is what I do with people, this is our connecting. Which if we look at all of our Foursquares, this is how we connect. That once you don't do it anymore, what happened to you? What happened to you? From their perspective, that's what they're saying. You changed. We had a loving relationship, and now we don't anymore. We don't. You're no longer doing wounded. What the heck? You've ruined our connectedness. Because what we were doing is like this with a Foursquare. We're dancing. We're dancing together, we're playing together, we do together, and that's all that the relationship is about, is Foursquare to Foursquare. I mean, that's what we would,
Yeah.
that's what it is. So if we're looking at, like last week when we talked about the leadership thing and the government officials, has anybody noticed this week? Oh my God, the dance is just like, oh my God, do you want to touch it? Sure, I'll touch it.
They went out to dinner.
They went out to dinner. They went out to dinner. Date night. Date night. It's exactly date night.
The same words are coming up. Like I heard somebody say, well, he's so aloof or irrational, or he needs to be creative.
Yeah.
A lot of the same terminology.
Yes.
But can't that at least be a start of communication and maybe understanding each other? I'm saying maybe.
I'm like, listening for you.
Yeah, I don't have any hope for politicians. But
Oh my God, they're not going to get off the grid. There's no intention of getting off the grid. They don't even know there's a grid to get off.
Right.
They're just being themselves.
Okay, I'll be naive again. Can't they maybe by accident discover something?
Sure, there can be a fluke.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we talked about last week, about the fluke, that all of a sudden something happens to somebody and it opens up and there's a fluke. That's up to God. Are they in control?
Not at all.
Not at all. The only one in control is God. And I think God's sitting there watching the game and he's having a ball. It looks like it's a great dance.
Yeah.
Does this make sense? We don't have any control. The only thing we have control over is working on ourselves.
Yeah.
Working on ourselves, getting clean.
But so I have a question about that. We do have some, I guess not control, it's God, but if we're working on ourselves, then there are opportunities for that opening
For us.
for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That
Only for us.
only.
Only for us. It'll be a fluke for the other person. And again,
Right.
as we talked about last week, does the other person necessarily like that?
No.
No.
They don't necessarily want love. They don't necessarily want equality. They don't necessarily want to have a sense of connectedness from that level. Nothing.
And that's what you find out when you're doing this with somebody in the Foursquare. You find out that,
Yes.
you know.
Because, if they're not, let's say they're not working at all, but you are. And you can share with them. You can share what you're working on, and then you get to see whether they then come in on the kill for you. So you're like doing an experiment where you have somewhat control, but you don't have any real control over them. And the whole thing of this, people think this is being vulnerable. They don't want it. It's vulnerable. But when is that invincible? Small self is never invincible. It's just like, boom. And it's so boring because it's always going to go. Yeah, we have no control. It always goes to the same. But it's not going to do your Foursquare. It's not going to do someone else's Foursquare. It's only going to go to their own. It only does their own. And that's where, and we believe we have control. No, that Foursquare has control over us. We are not. Until we get off that grid, until we are here, until we want this. And this is love in the truest sense of the word. This is equality. This is connectedness. This is no longer center of attention. This is surrender. And until we're here, this is whatever our Foursquare is in control. Yeah.
You have said this so many times, but this whole thing with control, I so badly want to be in control, but really what I want is I want to feel out of control because I want to want. It's not, control.
Well, what you want is you want things to go your way.
Right. And
That's all.
that, it's
That's it. That's it. Sorry. That's it. That's it. That's what control is. I want things to go my way. That's all. Whatever my ways of the moment. And if whatever your Foursquare is, that's what I want things to go my way. So if frustrated and thwarted is my Foursquare, and I want to be in control, what do I want?
To be frustrated.
To be frustrated. Frustrated and thwarted. And that puts me now in control. Who's in control? Small self. If rage is my loving, and that's what I want, and I'm here, rage. Wounded, boom. Aggravated, agitated, anxious, tormented, abused, dread, lonely, irritated. That's what it is. And until we give it up, until we surrender, our most cherished, precious, because it is our precious, until we give that up, whatever it is that you're saying you want things to go your way, you want to have, is never what you say you want. No, because this is going to be what's going to run. This is what's going to be in control. When we have this, then we're riding the horse in the direction it's going. We're going with God. Our focus is on God. God is in charge. And let's get clear, who is God? Not the little guy, not the anthropomorphic guy.
Not the conscience.
Not the conscience, definitely not the conscience. No voice that we hear in our head is God. No voice we hear in our head is God. Oh my God, no. Not the idea, not some idea we have in our head. It's not the experience of bliss either. It's still limiting. Getting closer with I am, but it's not I am. It's God is everything. All powerful, all knowing, all pervasive. Is there anywhere that God isn't? No. So that then what you have is God is the total subject. And in truth, then, can you see God?
In everything, I guess. In everything. Can't see.
Once you are union with God, can you see God?
Yes. No? Yes.
You can't
No, because it's
No.
unperceivable.
Yeah.
Because it's not an object anymore.
It's not an object. It's not an object. So all that we do is we do it as symbolic. We're doing symbolic. I am is a really good place, but it still is not the final thing.
So realized being, how do they experience? Don't they experience that? They don't.
They just experience. They just are.
Right.
That's why I said there was no one home when I looked into Baba's eyes. It was just that everything, and then he would, in order to communicate with me, he would put on his vehicles
Mm-hmm.
and then talk to me. No. So, realized being, is the goal Shakti?
No.
No. But if the goal is Shakti, then I'm back into controlling
And temporary.
and temporary.
Yeah.
And I want control. I'm a magician. No, control is not a goal.
Then the goal is love.
Love. Start out with love. Equality. But it's not our idea of love. It has to be here. It's off the grid love.
So, when you don't want love, when you don't want to be there,
And you just want yours.
when you want this,
Mm-hmm.
I find, for me personally, I really want love, but I don't.
So then what do you have to do?
I just keep working and keep surrendering, keep going.
No, you go. First thing you have to do, and this is again, I want to be here, but I'm over here. I want to be here. No, I'm over here. This is where I am. So you know, I don't want love. I don't want love. I don't really care about love. Love is not what it's cracked up to be. It's not what, doesn't really work. Causes all kinds of problems, does all kinds of things. I really don't want to do love. Don't you agree?
No.
A little bit. Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't want love.
Now
Yeah.
do you want love?
Yeah, a little bit more.
That's the way it is. You gotta give it. You gotta surrender. You gotta, this is what I have. This is where I am. This is the way it is. Don't pretend. Don't fight. Because who wants to fight?
Small self.
Small self.
So you're feeding into the small self by fighting.
Yeah.
Darn. Okay.
Got it?
Bad week.
Yeah. Oops. Small self 10. Me 0. Negative 10.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. No. Wow. Look at me. I just really want to not love. Got it? Use a wedge to get rid of the control. We don't have control. So by fighting it, you're thinking you have control.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
There is no control.
Yeah.
No, this is what I have. Look at you with your illness. This is you've worked to have to surrender. Big for you.
It's huge. It's not always there. I'm not fighting as much.
Yeah, how much energy does it take to fight?
A lot.
A lot. You don't have the energy to do it.
No.
And you shouldn't be. It's not healthy. But then somebody said, oh no, you gotta get out there and fight. Fight for your health. Fight for, oh my God.
I can go back there in a heartbeat though.
Right. It's exhausting. Exhausting. If we're here, then we can discern what action to take. This one only decides, you only have two options. This, and both won't work. It is pretty much. And if you do this one and you think it's working, don't worry. We'll make it not work. And this one, it's not going to work at all, but go for it. Sure, we should try that. We haven't tried that in a while. Let's go try it this time. Maybe this time it'll work.
That's so true. Maybe this time it'll work.
Maybe this time it'll work. Go ahead. No. And then you do this. And if you want control, if we want control, we won't go for this. And this is the only time we get control, because we're actually doing it God's way. Who will never be actually in control?
Small self.
Small self. Because the small self is fed by
True self.
true self. So small self is actually the moon thinking it's the sun. Thinks it's the sun, thinks it's self-illuminative, thinks it's like the bee's knees, thinks it has control, thinks it sees and knows everything, how it really is, what's really going on, who's doing what, how it really, this is the way it really is. It's in control. It knows. It knows. And then what happens?
Pop.
Pop. And then what does it say? You did it wrong. I told you the way to do it, but you did it wrong. Does it
You're no good.
You're no good. Does it ever
No.
really give up control?
No.
No. It's a game. It plays. But does it actually have any control? No, not at all. And not until we do this, that we're here, that we actually have any kind of anything. When we truly love, when we're truly equal. And then we get to be strong enough. So if you're here and you're strong, are you going to be wounded? No. But does this want you not to be wounded?
Absolutely. Wants me to be.
Wants you
me
to
to be wounded.
Wounded. Absolutely wants you to be wounded.
I mean,
If you're not wounded, if you're not wounded, are you loving?
No, I'm not even a real.
You know?
When on the way over here, sometimes I'll anticipate somebody saying, well, how are you? Like you might say, how are you? And it's like, I want to say, well, this has been a bad week and I'm still having problems with, no, I don't want to do that. And this, and then, because if that happens, it's like, I don't know what I would say.
Right.
No,
So
that's
Because
very true.
I
That's
would-
it. Yeah. Yeah. This is solid. This is solid.
It's defined, it's like something I can wrap myself around.
That's right. This is back to center of attention, control. I have control. I have control. No. No, we don't. But this, that's why, again, when Baba used to say you have to have a really strong ego in order to let go of it. You have to be really, really healthy to be able to let go of it. If this wants to be the center of attention, if this wants everything, if this wants the control and will not let go, it's definitely not going to like it. Love. True love? Love? Love equal? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So I want to keep my part and I get to keep control. And then I limit, then I limit the people I'm in contact with, the situations I go in, and then I have great control. And remember, this, in the idea of being in control, will only attract the kind of people that will feed our foursquare. Wow, been here before. Been here before. So, we have two things we have to let go of. Truth is only one. We have to let go of Prakriti. We have to let go of trying to control nature. Is this Prakriti? Yes, this is nature. We have to let go of this. We have to let go of out there. Do we have any control? No. So our job is, if we're here, then is to respond appropriately, just to respond. And we end up being clear or clean. And then we might get smacked. We might be called all kinds of things. And the tendency is going to want to do this. Small self wants to, okay, see? No. Here. Let go. The more we're here, the more we let go, the more then the limited people, the limited relations, the limited activities, all, and it's going to be what it's going to be anyways. It's going to be what it's going to be. But if I'm saying, no, you stand over here and smile. Not too much. Just no, I don't want to see all the teeth, just a little bit. You sit quietly and fix your hair. You change the outfit. I need something different. If that's what we're doing in life, we're going to be so frustrated all the time.
We have been.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, the experience is, if you try to come from this perspective with that other person, they're going to come even with a greater vengeance from that direction.
Absolutely, because why?
They must not be hearing me. I'm just going
Right.
to turn it up a little louder.
Well,
They're fighting
That's
to
a
keep that
challenge.
foursquare going too.
Right.
They're fighting to keep.
well, that's
it
the
going.
relationship. Remember, the relationship is foursquare to foursquare.
Okay, so then you have this little heart-to-heart. You explain what the situation is,
Mm-hmm.
but we have expectations, so we should drop the expectations.
That's what you have to
That's
do.
what you have to do.
You have to surrender.
If
So-
a fluke happens, it happens. If it doesn't,
Doesn't. That's just, this is what we've got.
okay.
Yeah. That's the hard part. That's where it hurts.
Right.
Because you want to have, you've grown, and you want the other person to do, to come with you
Mm.
Mhm.
and to actually connect and be there.
Whereas the other possibility, they don't see the change at all.
That might be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You still have the same glasses, the same shirt, the same everything. And that happens a lot. That does happen a lot. Because they won't, remember, a lot of people don't like this. They don't like this. And they aren't going to notice this. So the best you can do for you would be then to communicate in different ways. You change your language with them. Be aware, oh, this word's going to bring that foursquare into being. Let me not, I won't do that.
Right.
That's as good as it gets.
And they're trying to put the the brakes on what you're doing.
Right. Whereas they've always liked, sometimes it happens. Do you ever find out that they've always liked blaming you? Now you're no longer doing what you used to do, and they hate it, and they want you to do it again
Yes.
because the whole relationship was based on blaming you.
Right. Or someone has a dramatic change, say they lose a lot of weight, make a big change, and then the people in their life, they're not happy with that at all.
Right. Well, or you're the person's successful. I never wanted you to be successful. That does terrible things to me. People are like that. It's back to the issue of control. I want control strictly from small self in that regard. But if you let go, you're going to see that's part of this thing is, so the other people are actually then us. They're us. So the person now coming at you with a vengeance is me. Okay? So then what do I need to do?
You need to be more in the middle, much as you can.
Much as leave this behind and then go, okay, this is what I have. They're coming at me. I need to keep surrendering. I need to accept. Fine. So they then win. Win. Can you let them win?
Yeah. In their mind, right?
Right. No.
How do you know?
You have to let them win.
Because it's their, it's their journey. And you have to just be focused on yours.
Yep.
That's
the hard part.
That's the hard part. I've been sort of working with that a little bit, this is my...
And what we want is we want to have it be sharing, and we're both going on the journey and then we can share, but that doesn't happen often.
It's only, that's God's...
Yes.
If that's what God's doing.
Right. So the person may be over here and they're coming and you're going and it's a different, and you have to let them just be. Can't be in control. Can't have control. You can't control them. And they're still they were trying to control you and you were trying to control them. You now have stopped controlling them, right? But they're still going to try to control you. And the way they were controlling you is still not going to change. They're still going to do it the same way they always did it. So they might not, they want to see that you've changed it all. And then you have to surrender that. Or you did change and you're not the way I wanted you to be now. That's no good either. In that sense. We don't have control. We don't know that's part of the game. This is a play. We haven't read all the, ultimately we have, and that's what happens the more we get into this open and off the grid. We do see what the other players are going to do. We do see the characters. We do see their lines. And then he's going to say this. And then he says this. But until that point, we don't know what the other we do not have the control of what the other characters are going to say. So the only thing we can do is keep on surrendering for ourselves. That's why Bobby always used to say, love everyone, trust no one. You never know. You never know. And things happen. Does anyone have their date book for the rest of their life? With all the calendar filled? And they know exactly what's going to happen? No. So we don't know when, bam, next day. Wow, not prepared for that. So we don't have control. Yeah.
Have you seen the orange juice commercials? I think it's Tropicana, where it's a person sitting at their kitchen table with a bunch of different events that's going to happen that day. And it's like, okay, so and you're drinking their orange juice. Okay, so what's going to happen at 9 o'clock today? Oh, you're going to get into a car accident, be really late for work, and you're going to miss your meeting. Okay, great. And then it kind of keeps going into, well, at least I've had my orange juice. I can get...
Right. No, you spilt the orange juice. You
Yeah.
should have had it at the end. The first thing that's going to happen is the glass breaks.
Right.
And orange juice goes all over your clothes. We don't have control. We don't know that. And this small self wants to think that it does. And it plans based on its idea. Plans, does all of it. And no, we don't know. So what I know right now, this moment, I'm here. I can only do this. I know what, right now, this moment, right here, I can only do this. This is clear. I can't control. I don't have control. We don't have control. Small self does not have control, though it is trying desperately. Trying desperately. Keep letting it go. Give it up. Open up. Let go. Let go. Get out of the head, out of the whole thing, and then back into the heart. Let go. Then happens, doesn't happen, okay, not okay, work, not work, it's all right. It's back to Eckhart's never had a bad day. It is what it is. But not as an idea. It can't be as an idea, it has to be